Hi there, and welcome to Movie Scum. I am PBF.
Hi there, and I'm Puck.
And this week, I had a really random idea.
Very random, in fact.
It wasn't random in the sense that it was relevant to what I was doing at the time, but I was reading, I believe, on comingsoon.net that they are going to, that they posted a trailer for the MacGruber movie. For the uninitiated, MacGruber is a sketch on Saturday Night Live making fun of MacGyver. And if you don't know who MacGyver is, then you should probably shoot yourself, and I'm not going to bother explaining that. But the sketch is actually pretty funny. It's one of the few things on Saturday Night Live nowadays that is funny. But it got me thinking that there are a lot of Saturday Night Live movies out there that run the gamut. They're both really good ones and really garbage ones.
Very much so.
One of the ones that I particularly liked was Wayne's World.
Right.
I remember,
very, very good.
Directed by Penelope Spheris,
Right.
who actually a very good director. I remember actually when I watched that movie, I was at home and I watched Terminator 2 for the first time on VHS. Somebody let me borrow it, and then I know I was late. But somebody came into my room and was like, "Hey, let's go see Wayne's World." And I was like, "All right, that's rad." And so it was a long time ago. And so we went and watched that movie. And luckily for me, I had just seen Terminator 2 because there was a joke about that. But I digress. The reason why I like that movie is because it was actually a fairly lengthy sketch. It was they ran about 5 minutes long or so.
Right.
Very popular sketch. It was they were funny, and it was conceivable that movie could be extracted from the sketch and placed into a 2-hour format. I also am a very big fan of music. Had a lot of good music in there. Everyone was really hilarious. It was just an overall really solid movie taken from the Saturday Night Live sketch.
It was, and yeah, like you said, I think the thing that made Wayne's World such a hit is that it didn't feel like it was derived. Like, okay, well, we have these characters, we need to come up with some situation to make a feature-length movie. It felt natural.
Right.
It felt something that would logistically happen, that after the segment on Saturday Night Live ends, that the movie could begin or whatever. So that was very nicely done. What wasn't, however, Superstar.
No.
There are one of the primary reasons that I don't watch Saturday Night Live too much anymore is because they have a habit not only of making really bad characters, but also running them into the ground over and over and over again. That movie, just a prime example of that. Maybe it was funny like the first time or the first couple of minutes that you're like, she's whatever. But over the course of probably showed up on the show of a few seasons and a full-length movie. No, I mean there's just some ideas. It's I forget which movie it's in now, but Jurassic Park. It's not whether or not you can do it; it's whether or not you should do it.
Right.
Superstar should not have been done.
No. I also think that Stewart Saves His Family was another one that should not have been done. And I really don't understand why that one would have been done at all, really, aside from trying to capitalize on something. But that was just like, I mean, if I remember correctly, it was a sketch called Daily Affirmations, where he was doing a really low-rated infomercial at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and the shtick of it, or whatever, the funny of it was him being completely deranged and insane, but trying to help people.
Right. And
the gag of that didn't translate into the film because it was more about him having the show and then dealing with his, producer, and then dealing with his, dysfunctional family, and it was just completely removed from what made the sketch funny. And I didn't think that worked at all.
Right. For that one, and there was that movie, and then It's Pat. From I want to say it was in that same range. It was like mid 90s. I don't believe either of them got a theatrical release. They were just straight to video, and really, again, with same thing with the married cat, whatever the character's name is from Superstar. there, at least at the time, were funny things on SNL. Why would you do a movie of that?
Right.
Who came in and said, let's make a 90-minute movie about Pat? That's, but what was actually a very good Saturday Night Live movie was Coneheads.
I agree.
And really, actually, all the movies that we're talking about are right around that same, mid to late 90s. But Coneheads was very good, actually, looking over it recently. A bunch of people in it that, it's been a while since I've seen it, but a bunch of people in that movie, really funny actors. Just the whole story, the absurdity of it, that these aliens that look so different could blend in so seamlessly, and their growing pains in society. I don't know what the critical perception of it is. I thought it was freaking hilarious, and again, I was 11 when it came out, so. I
agree with you. I thought it was actually one of the better ones, and I think commercially it didn't really, it was panned or something, but the humor in it was different. I like things that don't necessarily, draw attention to itself, like, to use the example of at the end of the movie where Ronnie, Chris Farley, is taking the daughter Connie to prom, and they're taking a picture, and they got that kind of old-timey contraption with the giant flash bulb there, and it burns their shadows into the wall behind you, and it's there for 3 seconds, and if you don't see it, you don't.
Right.
That was really funny, but then it had also the slapsticky funny part that was funny parts that were good as well. But another thing I liked about it was that it was roughly 20 years since that sketch had been on the show, but it was still well done. In my opinion.
Right. So and that was another one that it didn't feel like it was, and possibly that was where kind of the big age difference, because it was some time from when probably the last of that sketch series ended and the movie came out, is that I guess it's not the same as seeing something that you just saw on TV last week that was 10 minutes and now it's stretched out into a 2-hour movie.
Right.
So that probably worked well in its favor. One movie that sadly I don't think will ever come to fruition, Deep Thoughts with Jack Handey.
No, they made some books about that, and that was I think that's about as far as you can go with that. I have a very pleasant memory of Deep Thoughts, so I hope that does not get sullied.
Yeah, it's been some time, so it's probably safe. Yeah. Then again, the remake train keeps chugging along.
That is
true.
That's true.
We'll have a remaking of Coneheads in probably about 5 years.
All right, well, I think it's going to about do it for this week of Movie Scum. Thank you very much once again for joining us. I just want to give a shout out to Phil. We're giving shout outs earlier in the episodes, and he was one of the first, I think, fans, and rated the YouTube video and always comments and stuff like that, and I felt like we didn't mention him before.
Way to go, Phil.
Thank you very much, Phil. Once again, PBF,
Puck.
and that's it for Movie Scum, and go see a movie.
Good night.